This is an AP Computer Science lesson on array lists. We're going to teach you how to build, use, and implement array lists in Java. At the end of this lesson, we are going to build a playlist using the ArrayList class.
So what is an array list and how is it different from an array? ArrayList is a type of class in Java. An ArrayList class is a child class of abstract list and implements a list interface. So ArrayList can be built without stating the length of the list, while arrays need to be built with lengths. That is one of the benefits of using ArrayList over arrays. Also, since the ArrayList size was never specified, the size of the list can grow or shrink depending on how many elements are in the list, while arrays, once built, the length is constant.
So how do we build an array list? We state the class name, which in this case is ArrayList, then state the type of object we want the ArrayList to store, then the name, then new ArrayList with the same type of object inside the carets as before, then the constructor parentheses. If you want the ArrayList to have a specific length, you can insert an int value inside the constructor parentheses. Here are some ArrayList methods that are useful to know. The first one is add method. This method allows you to add an object to the list. The next one is the get method, where you ask the ArrayList for the element at an index. The remove method removes the object at the index you state, and the .size method returns the number of elements that are in the ArrayList. You can find more on ArrayList on the ArrayList API, but for now, these are the most important ones you need to know for the AP exam. So now that you know what an ArrayList is and how to use it, let's create a playlist for Mohammed. Mohammed wants to add these songs to his playlist. The songs have a title, artist, or group name, and the year that the song was released in. So how do we create a playlist using an ArrayList? Well, first, let's take a look at the song class that we have provided for you. Take note of the getTitle method, getArtist method, and getYearReleased method. We will use these later. Now let's see how we can create an ArrayList of songs.
So here I've created an array list that will store song objects. We call that playlist, and we set it equal to a new array list that will contain song objects. Here I've just added 5 songs using the .add method, and we're just adding a new song with the information here. Alright, so problem number 1. Mohammed has had Burn It Down by AWOL Nation on his playlist for so long, he has grown tired of listening to it. How would we remove the song from his playlist? That one's pretty easy. All you have to do is just playlist.remove and then have the index of the song you want to remove. In this case, it's going to be 2 since this is index number 0. This is index number 1, and then Burn It Down by AWOL Nation is index number 2. So we're just going to put 2 in here, and it removes it, and consequently the array list will now have a size of 4 instead of 5, since we did remove one song. Alright, so problem number 2. Mohammed wants to sort his playlist by oldest to newest. How do we write the code to accomplish this? So we're going to need to write a method, so I'll be right back with the answer. Alright, so I've created the sort method here with playlist as the parameter. Our for loop is starting at 1 and going all the way to the end element, and then we're adding 1 to I every time. The if statement here is playlist.getI minus 1, so we're starting at the first element in the array list, and then we're asking for the year released back, so this should be 2019 as the first one, and we're asking if it's larger than the second element in the list, which is 1981. So definitely the first element has a larger int value than 1981. So that's going to be true. We go down to song. We make a temporary song object here for the first element, and we're going to remove I minus 1. So we're removing the temporary one, but since we have it here saved, we'll be able to set it back. And then we're going to set it in the I, since the array list size actually changes. We're going to want to set it to the I index, and then we're going to add temp back into it. So that's how the sort method works. It should work through all of them, since we start at 1 instead of 0. And that's the answer for the second problem. So problem number 3, Mohammed now wants to shuffle his playlist. So I created a new method called shuffle, and we're returning an array list of song, and the parameter is an array list called playlist. So the first step here is we're creating a new array list of song called shuffled. We're going to set that equal to a new array list of song with our constructor here. We're going to create an int called length and just have that as the playlist dot size. So we're going to have 5 here for our example. We're going to do a for loop of I starting at 0, and then in this case it's going to be 5, and then we're adding 1 to I every time. We're going to create a new int called random, and we're going to make this from 0 to 5, so it's going to create a random number between 0 and 4. So shuffled.add, and then we're adding a random song from the playlist. So we're doing playlist.get random, and then we're going to remove that song from playlist. So at the end, this playlist is going to be empty, and then this shuffled is going to be a randomized order of playlist.